So another element of the busking rig arrived today, and I'm really excited about this one. For busking, what I've started doing is playing to a lot of backing tracks. Now, the problem with that is, if you use your phone or something like that, you've got all the instruments in one track, all the stems together, and you can't adjust the instruments. What if there was a guitarist-friendly device which allowed you to change the stems individually in your backing tracks? I searched around for a long time to find something that has that capability, and finally I found something. The Idoru P1. Now, I'm actually very glad I didn't have to use this today, because this is how I got this. So this is the Idoru P1. It comes with a memory card. There's the instructions. Inside here, I'm guessing this is the power supply. So first impressions of this so far is this thing is solid. It's built like a tank. I mean, listen. Again, the second product that I've got for this busking rig that's made in Germany, and there is a stereotype of German quality for a reason. That's awesome. So now comes the time where I'm gonna plug it in, try it, get some backing tracks on it, and come back to you guys in a few weeks after I've taken it for a spin and seen what it can do. So this is the Idoru P1. The first question is, what is it? It is a backing track player. Now, if you're someone that uses backing tracks, you've got a few options. The first option is you have all of your stems together in one file. So it's just a general MP3, like a karaoke backing track. Problem with that is you cannot adjust the level of individual instruments. The way to solve this is you take a laptop on stage with you, you play it through a DAW such as Logic or Cubase, some Ableton, something like that, and you've got the individual stems, by which I mean the drums, the bass, the guitar, the backing vocals, and then you can adjust things on the fly. The only issue with that is you need to take a laptop on stage. I do a lot of gigging outside, and there just isn't a good place to keep a laptop, nothing that's practical at least. Well, that's where the Idoru P1 comes in. So with this, you don't need to take a laptop. This can hold the stem files and output them as you want, and the routing options are absolutely incredible on this thing. So let me just show you the hardware first. So if you're a guitar player, this is going to feel really comfortable for you because it's a pedal and everything is solid metal. If I talk you through the layout on the front first, we've got 3 foot switches. You've got backwards, forwards, and play, pause, stop. Now this would be used to skip between songs or to scrub between songs. You've got some selection wheels which also click to select and scroll, and this is an identical version of the 3 switches, just if you want to use it on a table mode, so you can use your hands instead of feet. The back is where it gets really cool. You've got your 6 individual outputs, and you can choose what stem you want to route to each output. You can have multiple stems to each one if you want, and create 6 individual mixes. Actually 7 individual mixes, because you've got a separate headphone out as well. There's AUX in, aux in, which I'll come to later. You've got the big USB, the sort of printer size one. That's for doing updates and connecting to the computer for sending songs. There's the regular size, I think it's USB-A. At the moment that doesn't do anything, but that's to future-proof it, is what it says in the manual. Then you've got the power input. And this is the bit that gets me very excited. You've got the SD card slot, which is to store the playlists and the individual tracks, and everything's on there. And this is the bit that got me excited. This is MIDI in, out, and the out is also through as well. You can control this with MIDI and also send MIDI out to control other devices from the backing track. And on the bottom you've got some non-slip rubber feet, which are really very good. Okay, so let's go to the whiteboard and I will try and explain some of these routing options. So let's say this is the Idoru itself. Now on the Idoru, you can store 6 different WAVs, and we're going to call that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You've also got 6 separate outputs. So the idea is that you would send these to a mixer that will go out to front of house. And you've also got the headphone out, so we'll put that on this side. So I'm going to name these WAVs after the instruments that they could be on a file. So I'm going to say drums, bass, guitar, keys, and backing vocals. Number 6 I'm going to do something a little bit different because I'm going to use this for learning my songs as well. So this is going to be all. This is going to be a mix of everything. So I'm going to send this to my headphone mix. So this is option one. This is probably the most straightforward way that you could do it. You could do your drums out 1, bass, guitar, keys, backing vocals. I'm going to move the headphone socket there just so it looks a bit cleaner. And this is the track that's got absolutely everything on. So this would have the vocals, the lead guitar, everything. I can have the click running through that. I could have instructions that I've pre-recorded. This is going to go wireless, IEM, in-ear monitors. Okay, so now I'm going to send these to my mixer. Let's just take up some channels in the mixer. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've sent everything out with 5. Now we don't have any WAVs left to spare, but we do have an output left. And this is where I was saying you could get creative. Now technically there's only one headphone socket, but you could start making individual mixers of different things. So check this out. You could have your main guitar going into the mixing desk, and let's have the vocals, which you're playing as well, going into the desk. What you can do is take an output from the mixing desk and route it back into the Idoru. So now technically I've not got another WAV file, but I have got one more thing that I can send out from the Idoru. And this is where the flexibility of the system comes in, because if you had everything on one track, you cannot add and subtract instruments on the fly. But if you use the Idoru, let's say instead of doing a solo gig, I'm a 3-piece. I'm going to sing and play the guitar, but I've got a drummer and a bass player. So we mute. You don't have to change the routing. You mute the bass and drums. Once you've done that, there's nothing going out to the main mix. There's only receiving backing guitar, keys, backing vocals. And now what I can do is send an AUX signal to this output. I could add signal 3, signal 4, and signal 5. And this could be a second in-ear monitor mix, a completely separate mix to what I've got. So to sum it up, the things that you can output, 6 separate WAVs plus an AUX signal. And the AUX signal can be anything that you've plugged into the mixer that you're sending back to the device. So really, this, however many channels you've got on your mixer, that's what you can send through AUX for live instruments. Okay, so what I'm going to use is this as a mixer because I'm trying to build up a portable busking rig. Now, I understand this needs plugging in, but we'll come to that later. But this, you can use a power bank. It's a 6-channel mixer from the great people at AliExpress. And for the sake of this demonstration, I'm just going to use some old patch cables from effects pedals that I've got laying around. I'm going to take output 1 into input 1. I'm going to get a pretty pattern with this because the way that I've got the mixer lined up, everything's backwards, but it should look nice. So that's my 6 outputs taken care of. Now, what I'll be able to do is, if I send a WAV file to 1, I should be able to control the individual stems of my backing track. The output from this mixer is what's going to go to the speaker and provide the sound that the audience would hear, and the output from here, which is my headphone mix, is going to be my independent in-ear monitor mix. Okay, so the Idoru comes with the memory card. You insert that into the slot on the side, and there is no power switch, you just plug it into the power. It comes up with a display saying device in my storage mode, and then in the software we can go into create new session. First thing we need to do is create a set list. We're going to name the set list, I'm going to call it busking, and then we need to create a song. Now I'm using House of the Rising Sun, but because the display is only this big and it doesn't scroll, I'm just going to call it HOTRS, House of the Rising Sun. Now we need to add the WAVs, so we go into the mixer view. Let me talk you through what we've got. These are your outputs on the back of the system. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this is headphones. You've got individual levels for all of them and a master level. These are your 6 WAV files, and this is the AUX, which you would send to the device later from the mixing desk. You can use a total of 32 connections. First thing we need to do is add some WAV files. You can click and drag and just throw them all in. We've got our 6 WAVs loaded. We've got one that's got everything on, just drums, just bass, guitar, organ, and the main vocals. So I'm going to decide that my headphones, I want a mix of everything. So I've activated that track, it's sent to the headphones. Output 1, I'm going to have the drums. Output 2, bass. Output 3, guitar. Output 4, organ. And output 5, the main vocals. If you know for a fact that one of your WAVs is louder than the others, you can adjust it here. And that will only adjust it for this song. It won't adjust it for every channel 3 on the Idoru, it will just do it for this one song. If you adjust it here, this is a global setting that will adjust it. You click done, and that's it, the first song is done. And you click send session to P1. Find the P1 device, send session. And then wait a little while for it to copy everything. Transfer complete, unplug the Idoru, unplug it from the USB, and now when you plug it back in, it goes into performance mode. So we can see I'm in the set list of busking. I've only got one set list, and this is House of the Rising Sun. It's 2 minutes 47, and it tells you the BPM. Okay, House of the Rising Sun's queued up. These buttons do the same as these. I'm going to press the foot switches to show you. The track starts. And we can control individual stems from the mixer. Now if I decide that I don't want the vocals, that's here. Don't want the guitar? Oh. Don't want the guitar? Just bass and drums. Get rid of the bass. That's the organ. Let's have it just the organ. So like I said, imagine you're doing a gig and for this gig the drummer comes. You get rid of the drums. You've got a bass player, get rid of the bass. If you can sing. Okay, if I pause the song, imagine you don't have your computer with you and you suddenly realize, oh, I've messed something up. You can edit everything within the unit itself. Headphones, WAV 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can control the individual volumes. If you click to go in, then you can adjust the output level. Okay, so this song is set up to cue the next one when it's finished. So we've got 15 seconds left. Let's see what happens as the song ends. Born on the Bayou, ready to go. So you could hit this, or you could just press play. Straight into the next song. With the loop feature that there is, there's now the possibility to loop a song, and then when you queue up the next section, it'll get to the end of that loop and jump onto the next one. So, what we're going to do is install an update. This is in beta testing at the moment, but I can show you exactly the process of updating the Idoru. This is the perfect time to show you. So the process is incredibly simple. What you do is take the memory card out of the system. You could probably do it in, but I think it's for updates I would do it out. Go into the update folder, which is created automatically, and you just literally throw in the new firmware version, eject the memory card, put it into the system first, and then as you power it up, hold down the play button. Done. Firmware updated, restart device. Restart is just unplug and plug back in.
So lots of people will be wondering where to get stems from. So there's a great website called Karaoke Version. You can click on custom backing tracks, Here's the free ones that I used before. House of the Rising Sun. There's your individual stems, so the individual instruments. If you want one instrument, you mute all of the others, leave one unmuted and download, and that would give you the stem just for the organ. Repeat it for the other instruments, you've got all your stems. If you look in the description box, I've got an affiliate link for karaoke version as well, so if you click through that, it'll take you right to the website. Also, we've got free backing tracks. Now, all I did was type this into Google, free backing tracks, and that's how I found Wiki Loops, some free tracks you can use in that. That's where I got my light demo song from. And the only problem you might come into is the Idoru only plays WAV files. So if you've downloaded these, they could be MP3. You would then need MP3 to WAV free converter on Google. The first 3 ones, I've tried them, they work great, and they're free for a small amount of usage.
So I'm going to try and show you 2 features simultaneously. I'd like to show you the MIDI to DMX capabilities of the P1 combined with the DoReMidi box, and also the live looping feature, which is where you can take different tracks. I'm going to do 3 tracks. I'm going to have 1 track as a verse. You set it to loop. Once you've queued up the next track, when you get to the end of it, it plays the next one. This is on loop mode as well. It'll loop forever until you queue up the final one, and this will be the outro where it plays once, finishes. And we're going to program some lights for that. Okay, first things first. If your light has some kind of DMX control, you'll have to assign it a DMX number. Now I've assigned my light as number 1, which makes things nice and easy. And I'm going to daisy chain that light into others. That way I program one light and it does the whole rig. If you've got different lights, usually the DMX numbers you'd have to program individually for different lights. Your light should come with some instructions that tell you what channel does what. Mine, these are the cheapest lights I could find on AliExpress. They're not even branded. It doesn't have a website that you can download the manual from. It had 1 piece of paper. So this is really important, I don't lose this. But this tells me, so DMX channel, not MIDI, DMX channel 1 is total dimming, 2 is red, 3 is green, 4 is blue, 5 is white, 6 controls the strobe, 7 controls the effects, the manual effects, the pulse effects, automatic, and sound to light, which is what we're going to use. So first I'll show you how to set up the DoReMidi. It's either called the DoReMidi or the DoReMidi, but for me I think DoReMi makes sense. So what we've got is, the first one is what channel within the DoReMidi you're using. So you cannot change that, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4. So I like to do it this way to keep everything simple. Channel 1 on the DoReMidi controls DMX1. It sends CC messages. Now this can do notes as well, so if you're playing live, you could have it so you play a note on a keyboard live and it will change the lights. But we want CC messages from the Idoru. Controls MIDI channel 1. Channel all. If you've got multiple lights, this is what you would change. So this is number 1, which I could set to 1, but I'm just doing all because it's easier. And this is on or off. 1 is on, 0 is off. And I set this up for every channel that I need on that piece of paper. So I've got 1, 1, CC1. I've got 2, 2, CC2, 3, 3, CC3, 4, 4, CC4, all the way through 1 to 7. Channel, I'm only using 1 lamp, so I've just set it to all. Multiple lamps, you would need to change it. And EN, 1 is on, 0 is off. Really basic to set that up once you know what you're doing. The first thing we're going to do is take our WAV file and we're going to split it up into 3 sections: verse, chorus, outro. So in Logic, we want an audio track. We find the WAV file that we already converted. And we just throw it in. And now I know that this WAV file is 84, and I'm going to make it show the time bar. It's going to make it easier for editing and finding the sections. The verse section is around 48 seconds. So I just take my scissor tool, cut. Don't move anything yet, just cut the sections up. The chorus comes in at 1:11, scrub to 1:11, cut. There's the verse, there's the chorus. And to find the end of that chorus, there's a little drum fill that I want to keep. 1, 3, 4, if I cut it there, let's see if we've got it. Just move that, see what it sounds like at the end. Yeah, that's fine. And the outro, 242, cut that one. There's our verse, there's our chorus, there's our outro. We'll keep this in one file just for ease of simplicity, that's it. Okay, this is the bit where we're going to start programming lights. So we want to add external MIDI. Make sure you click on Use External Instrument Plugin and DoReMidi all channels, DoReMidi. Because I've set this to receive all, I can send to all channels. And what you do is you right click, you create an empty MIDI region. Once you've done that, you can click up here on the event menu, tell it you want to do controllers, controller, quantize, let's do it to 8th notes, quantize is on, and then you add an event. It will add the event wherever the playhead is. So go back to the beginning. This is the position in the song. This is nothing, this just tells you it's a CC message. This and this together, you can think of this as what channel of the DMX you're controlling, and the value is off and on. On is 127 on full, 0 is off full, and it's gradients between. So let's do, this is 1-1, this is 1-2-2, let's call this 3-3, we'll call this one 4-4, 5-5, 6-6, and 7-7. Okay, so everything's on. We need to switch some things off. So let's go through these. I'm going to turn number 1 off, and I'm going to go through the rest of these. So let's say number 7 off, 6 off, 5 off, 4, and make sure it's on 0. If it's not on 0, it's not completely off. Okay, so one of the big problems we're going to get is something like this. Number 2 controls red on my device. You turn it all the way up, and you spend hours thinking, why is it not working? Just because you need to put the brightness up as well. Something as simple as that can drive you insane. And all we're going to do is this, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do something new. Let's issue a new command. So at this point, add a new command. I'm going to do red off. Now don't worry that it's changed the light, it's actually switched sound to light back on. As I'm scrolling through all these options, it's sending these MIDI messages. But once you've settled on something, just go back and then it'll get rid of all this extra information that's gone. So what we're going to do now is create a new region, put the playhead where we want it. 1, 2, 3, 4, change. So I want it in this region. We want number 2 off, and we want number 3 to be on. There, sorted itself out. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, change. New track, new region. Let's do 3 off. Let's switch blue on, so 4 on. 1, 2, 3, 4, stop. Blue off, white on. New MIDI region, 4 off, 5 on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's stick everything on. So you got to remember what was off and on already. So I don't need to do white, but let's do red, green, blue. Got white already, and that should be all of them together. Now it switched sound to light on again, but if I just scrub back, it should go. Everything. At this point it's got some hits, so what would be nice is the sound to light mode switch on. So we just tell it we want track 7, full, and this should go into sound to light mode. And if the volume is loud enough, it should get that bam, 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 bam together. 1, 2, 3, 4, stop. Make sure I tell it sound to light off. And then I want some colors off again. Let's go back to just green on its own. So let's tell it 2 is off, 3 stays on because that's green, 4 is off, 5 is off. And now when it's got a loop, it should go back to the red command. So now we've got this. Red, green, blue, white, all colors, green, blue. Should go back to red. So that's my verse loop set up with everything, okay? Now what we should do is this. Let's save the project in Logic right now. So we've got light demo, and we're gonna call this the verse. We're going to highlight this section. We're going to export selection as audio file. We're going to call it verse audio. We'll do the same with the MIDI. Verse MIDI. And because we've saved it, we can delete it, and let's just bring the chorus up. And let's work on this now, okay? This one, nice and easy. All I want is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Match the numbers, so 1, 1, 2, 2, let's do that. So obviously I want brightness on, sound to light on. There we go. The whole chorus is gonna have sound to light. In this last section, I'm going to switch sound to light off. If I loop, not a problem, I'm sound to light. But if I play the next section, I've not issued the off command for sound to light. That's the chorus done. So same thing, let's do file, save as, create a new project. We're going to call this chorus. Then if ever you have a problem, you can just edit that section without having to mess around with the audio track again. Export, audio file, export, MIDI file, delete. So let's do the outro. So draw a new MIDI region, make sure the playhead's at the beginning, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just in case you don't know what happened, like it's still in sound to light mode. I don't want that. Everything's off, blank slate. So brightness on, let's go start with, let's do some mixed colors. Let's do blue and red together and a little bit of white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, stop. Let's make the white a little bit brighter. Let's take the blue off. Let's mix some red. Let's take the green out as well. Now there's a mistake in the backing track. Whoever created it didn't get the drums quite right at the end. It sounds a bit like they're falling down the stairs. So we'll add some strobe on that section just to really highlight it. So at the moment we've got those two colors, so let's add in the strobe. So strobe is on channel 6. The higher the number, the slower the strobe. The lower the number, the faster the strobe. I think once you get above 5, that's the fastest strobe we can get. So I'll make it pulse with that. And let's even add another color with it as well. Let's add the green back in for that. When the drums fall down the stairs, we should have a strobe. Strobe. Let's switch the strobe off. Channel 6, off. At this point, I'm going to switch all the colors on. So I'm going to switch blue on with this as well. So 4, 4, full on. So now I've got all the colors on. And at the end, we're going to do something really nice. And what we're going to do with this is we're going to create some automation to dip the lights and dim it at the end. To do that, we click on the automation button. You click on the track that you want to automate. This should be in MIDI modulation, and that's what we're adjusting. You choose, just want one section. So I want the end to dim, and it's MIDI modulation. So now, got a nice dim. Okay, let's do the same. Let's export these. File, export. Selection as audio file. Let's take the MIDI. Then let's move over to the P1.
So I've made a new set list called Light and Loop Demo. Within this, we need to create 3 songs. We're going to call song 1 verse, song 2 chorus, and song 3 outro. So we go into the mixer for the verse. First thing we'll do is set the BPM. Now this should be 84 BPM for this song. We need to tell it at the end of the song we want it to loop. And we're going to add the WAV file for the verse. We also add the MIDI file for the verse, which will have all the DMX information. And done. Okay, let's do the same for the chorus. Add the WAV, set it to loop, set the BPM, add the MIDI file, and again, done. And then the third time with the outro. Set the BPM. This time we set it to cue next. We don't want it to loop at the end. Add the WAV, add the MIDI file, done. And then click the button that says send session to the P1.
Okay, so here's the final test. What I've done is I've plugged the Idoru into the light on the left, and they're all daisy chained together, so I've only got to program one light, not four. Okay, so here's the verse. I'm gonna let this run twice. Now I'm going to cue up the chorus. Chorus is queued up, ready to go. Chorus. Chorus 2 times. Outro to finish. Okay, so there it is. That's the Idoru P1. Now, what are my opinions on it? My opinions are, to be honest, I haven't seen anything like this that has the capabilities of controlling the individual stems without a laptop. There is one product, the B-Beat. I'd be interested in reviewing that as well, but from what I can see, it isn't really a floor-mounted unit. This is gig-proof, 100%. It is sturdy. The features that this offers are fantastic. Controlling set lists, individual songs within set lists, the MIDI out. Now the MIDI out, something that I didn't mention before. At the moment I'm only controlling DMX, but you could send MIDI signals, for example, to something like this. This is my Prime P2, P1, P2, nice. This is MIDI controllable, so anything that you have that's MIDI controllable, within the backing track you could send a CC command. So when I went to the chorus, I could change the effect on this automatically. If I had a solo section, switch on the solo channel, anything that you want, different effects off and on. Eventually I'm going to have everything automated. The downsides, again, it's expensive, it is pricey, but for the technology that goes into it, the sturdiness, it's worth every penny. I think it's fantastic. Any of the negatives in a practical sense, I think the user interface takes a bit of getting used to. I've had a few weeks with this now and it feels great, it's natural. But I remember at the beginning, finding the set list, for example, if you've got something playing, you can't get into the set list. Or even if you pause it, you need to press and hold pause, jump back to the beginning, and then you can access the set list. But I've spoken to Adam, and together we've said a few things that weren't very intuitive, and he's producing a new quick start guide and some more informative videos on the website, so all of that should be ironed out soon. Apart from that, I'm actually in love with it. I think it's fantastic. I'm going to be programming my backing tracks into this. I'm going to be programming the lights show. I'm going to be programming the effects to change on their own. And it's going to be, for a song, you click once, you sing, you play the guitar, and you don't worry about anything else happening. It just works around you automatically. So would I recommend it? Yeah, I really would. It's fantastic.